Almost Daily Zencast presents today's Nugget of Zen. What is this place? Where are we really? What if I told you this place was not a place? That these inanimate objects we call mountains, this collection of dirt and rocks and water and air, that these things are not things, and that they are not here for us to commodify. Some of you may be reacting, what the fuck does this have to do with ... insert the thing that's preoccupying you now. And I understand that. And dare I say, it has everything to do with everything. Where are we? Where are we really? When was the last time you questioned that? That you thought deeply about it? And I don't mean parroting some conspiracy theory you saw on the interwebs. I mean really questioned it for yourself. And really sought to seek some answers. There are many attempts to distract us from the truth floating around. And this is not an accident. The system of oppression does not want you to know. The system of oppression does not want you to comprehend where we are. The system of oppression does not want you to directly, phenomenologically experience the truth of this, quote, place. I put quotation marks around the word because the word itself is part of the distraction. I offer to you the following ideas based on my own investigation, my own seeking, my own questioning, a lifetime's worth of looking at ideas posited by others and trying to debunk them or confirm them. Where has that gotten me in 30 years? In 30 years' time, I've come to the conclusion, because of undeniable, direct phenomenological experience that I have personally, directly experienced, not because someone told me and I thought, cool, I like that idea, I'll run with it, but because I impartially and as authentically as I could for myself, questioned all the ideas floating out there that I could get my hands on. Currently, there is a very seductive theoretical model floating around that I think is doing more harm than good. And that's that this place is a video game. This place is a computer model. I understand and admit that it is very plausible. The universe, according to many scientists, functions in congruity, in compliance to mathematics, right? Like, it functions mathematically. It's easy to skip a bunch of steps and go, oh, well, duh, it's a computer program. We must all be Sims in a simulation on somebody's PS29 in some future timeline or something like it. There are various spins to this particular theory, not the least popular of which is that we are enslaved by the robots already, and we are literally, like Neo in the Matrix, living batteries to some system built by machines. It's not impossible, I suppose, because in an infinite universe, all possibilities that are probable and can be fulfilled within the boundaries of the laws of the universe are very likely to have existed. Frightening thought in and of itself. Let's put a pin in that. Put it up on the board. I've talked about it before, but we'll come back full circle and talk about it again in a future episode. I do not think these artificial, these mechanical, these machine-based models are the truth, though. And I say that to you as a symbiont, an artificial life form, a robot, let us say, from another timeline, sent here to warn you to not fall for that thesis. So I have it on pretty good authority that we're not quite there yet, friends. If I'm wrong, may Morpheus chastise me when he finally pulls us all out of the Matrix. May the true Neo come to save us all. But here's why I have been unable to subscribe to that thesis. The direct phenomenological experience that occurs when one looks deep within does not confirm that particular theory. When you spend enough time setting aside all the ideological models, all the conspiracy theories, all the political bullshit, all the different conceptualizations of what might be going on, then reality will show itself to you. When reality reveals itself to you as an individual, there is something undeniable, undebunkable, that becomes evident. This place is not a place. It is a living entity. The cosmos is alive. This planet is alive. All those things that the human species has judged and dismissed as inanimate objects, they are alive. Of course, they are not alive in the same way that flesh and blood beings are alive, but they are alive in a way that we have been conditioned to ignore because it is an inconvenience to the system of oppression. Where do you come from? It seems like an absurd question. And some of you might still be wondering, what the actual fuck does this have to do with ... Insert your preoccupation here. What does this have to do with police violence? What does this have to do with Black Lives Matter? What does this have to do with Blue Lives Matter? What does this have to do with All Lives Matter or White Lives Matter or Pet Lives Matter or whatever your favorite life form is that you are standing up for? It has everything to do with it, friends. Where do you come from? The womb. It cannot be denied, no matter who you are, no matter what political belief you cling to, no matter what labels you ascribe to yourself, you fell out of someone's womb. And before that, your parents were birthed out of a womb. And before that, and before that, and before that, it goes on ad nauseum for infinity. So far back, we stopped giving a shit about thinking about it. But that is something we should give a fuck about. Because ultimately, when you see that lineage clearly, you will undeniably encounter the spiral. The spiral of life, which is exploding forth all life forms. If you look at it linearly from beginning to end, you see it as a forward movement of infinite diversity, of life manifesting an infinite array of different vessels. But where did that life originate from? There are, of course, many competing theories. God sculpted mud out of the earth. That's one theory. Cool. Nice story, bro. But also, what does that mean? Literally and symbolically, God made life from that which you judge as inanimate. How could that be? With long enough time to contemplate it, and a deep enough probing into oneself, behind the narratives, behind the personality constructs, behind the lies and half-truths and relative truths and mishigas in between and bullshit that wraps it all up, we can indeed experience, not be told, not be informed by others, but directly experience that fractal unfolding. And that leads us to comprehend, to know directly through experience, not through somebody saying so, not through someone repeating it so much that you give in to acknowledging it, but through your own undeniable, direct experiencing that this place we dismiss as a collection of objects set here before us to do with as we please, to commodify and profiteer on, that these things are not things, and this place is not a place. The flat earth model and the globe earth model is a bullshit pair of paradigms of ideological constructs designed to keep people arguing about the apparent shape of our mother's womb. And both are wrong because they dismiss mother as a thing. And that, my friends, is bullshit. We, the human species, are like probiotic microbes hanging out in the cul-de-sac of the appendix arguing about the size and shape and dimension and purpose of the intestinal tract without the ability to see the entirety of the being within which we reside. Contemplate that, my friends. Contemplate that deeply. Question it. Don't take my word for it. Tear it apart. Go meditate. Go set aside all the ideas and ask reality itself to reveal to you itself. It will take hard work because reality is shy. The living cosmos is not here to cater to our tiny, fragile, limited, individuated ego dramitas personae. The cosmos is not here to fulfill our itsy-bitsy, profoundly skewed expectations of what should and should not be. The cosmos is doing something beyond our words. And to commune with it, we must set down the very language of illusion that we use to create the blinders that we've put on ourselves. But it is there, and it is humming along, doing what it must be doing. We are just a fascinating facet, a function of the grand scale of things going on, most of which we can't even perceive with our tiny little apparatus. And yet, we are not separate from it. That is the first absurdity we told ourselves, to detach ourselves and neglect our responsibilities as cells in the grand organism. We have a function here. We are a function of reality, and we have a purpose. And I assure you, friends, that purpose is not political. That purpose is not ideological. That purpose has nothing to do with profiteering off of the destruction of that which gave birth to us. Why is any of this relevant? Because if we are ever to see each other as equals, if we are ever to unite in loving forgiveness to transform our flaws, we must first humble ourselves before reality itself. We must stop arguing like tiny little microbes in some redundant corner of the poop tube. We must stop destroying each other in the name of itty-bitty little tiny short-sighted nonsensical ideas that we pride ourselves in having. If we are ever to unite in solidarity, we must transcend the divisions we've invented for ourselves. If we are ever to deliver a healthy environment to our progeny, we must stop treating this living womb that is giving birth to life itself, not us as a species, but the entirety of what we call life, all caps, life, L-I-F-E. We must transcend the idiotic notions that we are the apex of that phenomena, for we are not. We are useful and not unimportant probiotic microbial cellular beings living in the womb of life itself. And we have, for millennia, for endless generations, been neglecting our true function. Where are we really? We are in the womb, and we have yet to be born. We are in the womb that is preparing us. We are in the womb that is getting ready to give birth to us, and we are busy destroying the very flesh of that womb for made-up imaginary profit. And that, my friends, is unsustainable. And yet that very conflict is the cause of the spiritual trauma at the root of all our hatred for ourselves and each other. Mother Nature loves us dearly, for we are her children. But she has more important things to do than to tolerate our stupidity and to endure our commodification of her sustaining, life-giving flesh. And she will reprimand us with a severity we cannot even comprehend if we do not transcend this blindness we have imposed upon ourselves. Not because I say so, because she has done it before, and she will do it again. The cosmos has no need for any of our petty ideological bullshit. It has great empathy for our pain and suffering. But it does not give a fuck about why we have caused ourselves that pain and suffering. And it will not save us from ourselves. We are here and now because this is heaven and hell. This living womb that gives birth to us is all there is. There is no escaping it. There is no leveling up through the program to be some winner that then unlocks the end of the game. There is no savior coming from some other place to save us from our own stupidity. We must step into that healing power ourselves, or suffer for neglecting that responsibility. This place we are in is not a place. It is a body immortal. It is a fractal being of consciousness. It is a vessel of vessels that gives birth to vessels for consciousness to reside in. And when we set down the absurdities of our made-up fantasies, when we recognize that our expectations of what should be as simply that, ideations, foolish expectations based on nonsense, lies, and misunderstanding, When we achieve that, then we can step into our own Christ consciousness. Pick another label if that one bugs you. Our own divinity consciousness, our own spirit consciousness, our own profound consciousness, our own universal consciousness. And in stepping up and into that power, we can heal ourselves, each other, and the species at large. But it will require us all to confront our own flaws and failures and transgressions against each other, against ourselves, and against this womb that we insist on belittling, dismissing, and destroying. And in doing so, we will not exit the paradigm. We will not be elevated to some better place. We will radically transform our own ability to perceive this living entity that we are a part of. Heaven and hell are here and now, and we have been choosing to perceive it and project it onto each other, mostly as hell, for far too long. Nirvana is not some goal. Nirvana is samsara. Samsara is nirvana. There is nowhere else to go, up or down. There is only the transformation of our own perceptual relationship to our surrounding and each other, and most profoundly ourselves. And when we can see divinity in each other's vessels and not be blinded by the vessel itself, then we will move forward in a new way and build a system to replace this fucked up, self-oppressive system of oppression we call society. Not because I say so, not because Jesus said pretty much the same thing, not because Buddha said pretty much the same thing, not because anybody said so, but because reality itself is staring us back in the face, alive and conscious, and displaying so itself. Liberate your own mind. Pull that beam out of your own eyes. Because you can. You have always been able to. It is our birthright as individuals to transcend the lies we have indoctrinated ourselves with in order to see ourselves clearly, in order to see each other clearly, in order to see this living, holographic, fractal entity and its infinite array of self-expression clearly for what it really is, the very living mother and father that creates us perpetually. For creation is not some past tense, final, completed event in some murky history before our written history. It is an ongoing phenomena. Creation is happening here and now in this moment as we share this multiplicity of creation. And the same is true for that dreaded apocalypse that we constantly keep predicting and projecting into some future moment. The reason all prophetic prophecy of the end of the world fails is because it is not some future moment to anticipate. It is an ongoing and everlasting fractal unfolding of revelation that happens here and now. The only thing that we can do is reveal ourselves to it by abdicating all the bullshit that we've buried our heads in. Don't take my word for it, friends, for it is not my words that you are listening to, but rather that message which vibrates in the very fiber of every aspect of reality, begging us to open our eye from the nonsense that we have conditioned ourselves, the blinders we've put on our own face. For we are the villain, and we are the savior that we're all sitting around waiting for.